Hey guys, so I received a lot of questions regarding the ATPL and how I did, how I started, how everything is going. So I was like, okay, let's just do a quick YouTube video. I hope it's quick, I'm really sorry. So first of all, my name is Sunny Winter. I'm from Austria and I also do the ATPL theory with the Ausdruck control. Mainly I did it in Vienna now. But maybe now for my hopefully last seating, I'll do it in Salzburg, but let's see. So I first started with the PPL, so with the private pilot license. And I did it in Zell am See with the very, very, very best flight school there is. And I got the super cool flight instructor. So I did the private pilot license there, and I had absolutely no clue what I'm doing. Like, honestly, since I'm really small, I was like, okay, I want to become a pilot. And, it's a bit difficult. Like, I'm 27 now. Back the days, like 24, 20 years ago, every girl who said, oh, I want to become a pilot, it's like, better be a, I don't know, doctor or become a, I don't know, teacher, whatever. So that's why I'm only starting now, but it's never too late, I would say. Private pilot license in Zell am See. I was pretty fast. I think it took me like, I had my first flight end of October. I went to the theory test all at once because my flight instructor told me, you can't only do all subjects at once. I think it was a bit kind of a lie because you can actually, I think, go to the theory of the private license with only 4 or 5 subjects, but whatever. I managed to pass all of them, so all good now. But yeah, I think it was kind of a test from him if I'm willing to study enough and to go further than with the ATPL. But whatever. So I think I had my first solo in January, and I did the theory, I think, in February, March. So I was actually pretty fast, I think. BFZ, so not the whole Sprechfunkrecht. I first just did the German one, as you will be, banned? No, you're not allowed to go there for 3 months if you don't pass on. So we just did the German one, then I did so I started with the German one, then I did the theory, the 11 subjects, everything in German. As for the private pilot license, you don't need to do it in English. And then I did the AFZ, so the whole Funkerzeugnis, radio, telephony, privilege, whatever. And of course, you also need to do it if you're German, which mother tongue is German, you also need to do the English test. And actually, I got the 6, so the highest level. So I don't need to redo the English proficiency test, that's what it's called. So actually, my English was pretty good that day. So I got English level 6 and German level 6. So that's also a thing you need to do before getting the private pilot license. The English test, radio, telephony thingy, theory test. And then I also did like first the German, radio, telephony thingy, and then, so whatever. I think you know what I mean. So I was pretty fast at that time, I think so. And then I said like, oh no, I really want to do the ATPL. I want to fly bigger planes, and then I had my PPL, and I was like, no, I want to go keep going. I want to do the ATPL. I want to fly bigger planes, and I actually had so much fun flying, and also getting the peak hours in. We had so much fun. Different story. So let's start with the really important part, the ATPL theory. So as I said, I had absolutely no idea with the PPL. I had no idea what is IFR, what is VFR, nothing. I had no sim hour like with Microsoft Simulator, in nothing, zero. So I try to explain it to you as it was explained to me, and I often ask questions. Like, I'm a really outgoing person, so whenever something wasn't clear for me, I was like really there and like asking. That's the best thing you can do. That's why we're there, you know? So I met two really important people at the flight school, which got really, really good friends of mine. And they just, like, they were both at their last seating with the ATPL theory when I just started. And they were both students as well of my flight instructor, or of the flight school. And I met them there, and they were so kind and helped me, because this whole ATPL thing can seem super overwhelming, super unclear. Like, there's no structure in, like, for me, honestly, there's no structure in. And you just have those 13 subjects, and you have absolutely no idea, like, where to start, where to finish, or like, okay, where to finish, obviously with the last subject, but you know, where to start, how long does it take? So they really helped me, and I really want to help you to get it the smoothest and hopefully fastest way possible. And they told me, Sunny, start with the most difficult subjects, with calculations and whichever takes the longest, because the day you start with your first theory exam, like with your first sitting, the day is the countdown on. And so if you start, for example, 1st of July, you have the 18 months countdown from July. But also if you start end of July, it's also counting from July. So rather go to the first theory exam beginning of the month than rather end of the month. You just earn 30 days more studying, like if it takes some time for you, of course. Like, if you're a fast learner, do whatever. I actually started at the end of the month, as it was more convenient for me, but I knew it before. But I also knew that I will go full in studying and sit day in, day out, also rather waking up really early, like 5 o'clock, 4:30, and study. So my first sitting was general navigation, flight planning, human performance, and mass and balance. And if you have a seating, you first need to do some pre-tests with your flight school. Like, you need a flight school, some schooling lessons, you need to be there. I had them personally with my flight instructor as well, as he is a teacher. And then I needed to do some pre-tests. And when I passed the pre-tests, I could write my flight school, which is a different one, because my flight instructor is just for PPL, but also a teacher for ATPL, but his flight school is not a flight school for ATPL. So you need to make sure to find a flight school for ATPL. I have one in Austria. I'm with flight school, with Flugschule Punitz. And so I need to write them, and then they give me, like, kind of free, send me a formula, and I can send the formula to the Austro control and tell them, hey, listen, I want to do my first seating at this and this date, or whatever. So if you have your first seating, you have, I think it's exactly 10 days, one seating. So you can go there, for example, on a Wednesday. And if you're lucky enough, you can go the other week as well on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's one seating, but you could go there 2 days. So you would have then 7, 8, or 9 days in between time to study again. That's how I did it, actually. So I got a date, I don't know, 1 week on a Tuesday, the next week on a Wednesday or whatever, or on a Thursday. So I went to the first seating, like to the first day of the first seating, with general navigation, human performance, and flight planning. From that day on, from your first seating, the time is on. So it was quite good that I started there with those big subjects, with a lot of calculations, and quite tough. So it took me quite some time to actually prepare for them. So it was good that I started with them. I'm still, like, I'm 100% sure it was a really, really good way of dealing with the whole ATPL theory, as I'm happy with it. You know, with my first seeding with general navigation, and I think it was flight planning, or was it performance? So it was flight planning and flight planning, and human performance and mass and balance definitely helped me for my second seeding as well. So I knew some of the calculations, I knew some of the numbers which are important. So I really think it's a pretty good structure I have there. Otherwise I wouldn't do the video. And I'm convinced it's a good way of dealing it, because you have those 13 subjects and there is not like, yeah, they give you the 13 subjects, like do it, but you don't know with which subject to start. And for example, one of my friends, which I met in flight school, he started with, for him, easy subjects. So if the first seating was like great, passed everything, and then he started with general navigation, he was like, oh my fucking god, I need so much time calculating and solving all the questions. And like, I'm working with ATPLQ and solving all the questions, and it's so time consuming, and but my time is also running from those 18 months and I'm working on the other hand. So he quite got some time problems. And also you're only allowed to do six seedings. So I'm quite happy with how it's going at the moment. I'm hopefully in front of my, or like right before my last seeding. So yeah, that's just why I'm here and telling you this. And so I went there on a Monday, Tuesday, whatever, with general navigation, flight planning, human performance. I personally found human performance quite okay. That's why I did flight planning and general navigation together with it. And I studied in the morning flight planning and GNAV. And whenever my brain was like, I'm so done, I did human performance in the evening or in the afternoon. So I always tried to get one nicer subject to two harder subjects for the first day of the seeding. And then I did the seeding, and then I had almost a week in between for the second day of the first seeding with mass and balance. So in the 1 week, I only started mass and balance. I think it was on ATPLQ like 600 or 700 questions in the Austro filter. So it was quite okay, but I was like, after the first day, I was like, I can't do this. But it's always, whenever I see the questions the first time, I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. It's impossible. But somehow, until now, it's, knock on wood, it worked every time. And I'm really happy that I had this conversation with my friends, as they told me, hey, start with the big subject, start with the long subject, as time is not running, and you really can take your time until you go to the first seeding, which is, in my opinion, super important if you do it this way, like first PPL and then ATPL. So yeah, that was the first seeding. Then I passed all 4 subjects. I was super happy. I was super, yay, oh my god, I did it. And then I took 1 month off, had summer holidays, enjoyed my summer, enjoyed the time. And then it was like, oh my god, let's start studying again. And it was so hard to get back into it. And I did my second seeding. I did air law, performance, metrology, and ops. And I did ops on its own. So again, second seeding, first day of the second seeding, I did air law, performance, and metrology. And oh my god, air law was okay. So because also air law is quite similar to operations, like to ops, or somehow similar, like it's easier or whatever, like the only subjects maybe hang a bit together. So that's why I did ops on that second seeding on the second day of the seeding, because it was quite, a little bit together. As well as in the first seeding, they told me, like my flight instructor was like, yeah, so if you go with such difficult subjects to your first seeding, I would do mass and balance as well. And I think mass and balance sticks together with flight planning. So that was also kind of okay because you had some of the formulas, you had an idea of the whole thing. So this was quite okay. And quite, yeah, not like the same, but like a little bit überschneidend, a little bit. Yeah, so for my second seating, I did performance, and performance was quite okay because you already had mass and balance and flight planning before. Air law was air law. Well, there was the subject I studied in the evenings when my brain was like of metrology. I hated it. I was like super difficult for me, honestly. Also, you have like 84 questions in the exam. And I opened the exam, and I think the first 10 questions never seen or heard before. I was like, ugh. Yeah. Somehow I passed. I don't know. I was really lucky, I think, that day. And then I had my second day of the second seating, I think a week later. And I studied ops in that time, and it went good, super good. Like ops was for me at the like up to this moment the easiest subject of them all. So now I'm in front of my third seating, hopefully last seating, and I will go there with Airframe systems, POF and instruments, and then 1 week later with communication and radio navigation. So that's also why we do it, because radio navigation and instruments might be quite similar, and also I've started with IFRs, so that's also then hopefully a bit easier for radio navigation and instruments as well. But for now, I hate POF, and I think POF is the worst subject ever at the moment. But I've only seen the questions once, so every second or third or fourth time you go through the questions, they obviously get easier and you get a bit more into the subject and everything is going smoother. So I'm super happy with how I've struggled through this whole ATPL theory right now. I do like which subjects I did at what time. Then I started with those big calculation subjects before the time even started. So I have absolutely no stress at the moment. I'm in my third seating out of 6. So whenever something is going wrong now, I can take a fourth seating. So I have like kind of a Spazi, we say in Austria. So that's pretty good for the moment. And how did I study? So I studied with ATPL questions, ATPQ. The first seating I was like super over motivated and I took the whole bank. Yeah, for me it was absolutely enough just doing the astrofilter, as I'm going to the astro control for my exams, and absolutely enough. I think I did the astrofilter 3 to 4 times, and whenever I'm around 80 to 90% at home, I was good to go to the exams. So that's how I studied. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I asked my friends from flight school, well, more or less. While after my second seating, I also took 2 months off, maybe. I was like, I was super fast with everything so far. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's take a month off. And out of 1 month, it was like suddenly 2 months. But I'm back studying. And while I had my time off studying, I actually did my MEP, the multi-engine piston license. And yeah, you actually say that? Yeah, I did the MEP. Yeah, whatever. So, not quite completely fully off, but I did a bit of flying and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, not right now in front of my hopefully last seating. I hate POF, Principles of Flight. I really don't like it. And yeah, so that's it. I hope I could help I hope I can help you. And whenever you have questions, just type it down there. And I might do another video, and I really hope this roter Faden through this video, because I actually know myself, and whenever I start talking and I'm really into something or I'm really into a topic, I was like starting, I have an idea there, I have an idea there. Oh yeah, I should also mention this, and then it's sometimes a bit confusing. So I really hope it's good. I just try to really quickly put it together in short words. So I started with the bigger subjects, with the calculation subjects, to just give myself the time I need before I go to the first seating, from what time the 18 months start. And also you only have 6 seatings to pass all 13 exams. Then I also think like the subjects I started with helped the subjects I then did after, but I probably think that's kind of however you do it, but I rather do it from difficult to easy, honestly. So I think my really last exam will be communications. Really looking forward to that. Probably, no, I'm not saying anything now. So yeah, difficult to the easiest. So you make yourself life easier and start hard in, like difficult into it. That's how I do it. Like of course you can start like or do it different. It's just my opinion, and also the subjects helped me a bit, and also how I did it with one seating with the 2 days, and also trying to get subjects which are a bit or like closer together to the theme you already had. Like with mass and balance, okay, you had flat planning before, so you know what mass and balance is and how it works or whatever. So you had the formulas, you had quite an idea already, so studying in a week was quite okay. Maybe the only thing I would have done, or what I would do different now, is I would not do ops in a second seating, as I find it really, really, really easy. And it's kind of a subject you do next to 2 big subjects and not in a week. So if you're fully focused for a week, I would rather do, I don't know, well, PERF would be maybe airframes. Maybe airframe systems or instruments or something like that. But ops I would definitely keep and do in the last do it in the last seating. As I have now 5 subjects. In the beginning, like the first 2 seatings, I only had 4. So it's a bit more to study now, kind of, but not so many calculations, and so that's a bit better. So I can study from the couch, not always need to sit at my desk, which is not so good because I often fall asleep. It's really boring. But yeah, I study with Atpl, and I try to maybe put everything together in the description. I don't know if I managed to do it. If not, maybe remind me in the comments or whatever. And I really hope I could help you, as I think it's quite overwhelming at some point, as you don't know with what subject you start, as they just give you those 13 thingies and you're just like, do it. Like, how? And yeah, also it's tough, you know, you sit there day in, day out, see your friends going, I don't know, skiing, swimming, having fun, partying, whatever, and you just say like, no, sorry, I can't, I need to study, I need to get things done. But at one point when you go out and have passed the exam, like the feeling is so good, like, oh my God, okay, everything went smooth and it paid out, that you stayed at home hours after hours and studying. So I also have you see on the Atpl questions how many hours you've sat in front. Wait, dashboard. Reports. So I've seen questions 40,014, 40,000 questions. I took 506 tests so far. My average score is 69%, which is definitely not enough. Like, you need 75 to pass in the exam. And my time spent on ATPLQ is 637 hours and 45 minutes. That's a lot. I love ATPLQ. It works for me the best. Not sponsored or anything, it's just really my opinion, as the whole website is really easy to work with, and you have the Austro filter. I can recommend it to you. And yeah, maybe I'll do another video if you have any questions, or if you have enough questions. I really hope I can help you. And that's my ATPL theory story so far. Hope you liked the video, and maybe see you soon. Oh, I don't want to see you in the sky, but maybe hear you in the sky or whatever. Oh, that's French. Bye.